Thank you for being here. And let us start our session with the basic understanding of supply chain management. So most of you have already have idea about the supply chain process, that how it works, what are the key players, what are the interaction between different processes. So let us recall. We have heard this term many times, supply chain, but what it is in actual? Supply chain is a chain of suppliers that interconnect each other in order to fulfill the customer demand. In supply chain process, our prime objective is to fulfill the customer demand. Whatever customer is requested, our objective is to fulfill it. So we have to design our entire process keeping that in mind, right? If I talk in supply chain management, we have 5 key players. What are those? Can anybody name? Number 1 is definitely the supplier. The next is the manufacturer. Correct. Distributor. Retailer. And definitely the last is the customer. Right. So usually in a supply chain process, we consider manufacturer as the center component of the process, right? We consider manufacturer as the center process. And the process from manufacturer to the supplier are considered as upstream. And from manufacturer to the customer, these processes are considered as downstream processes. So why we call from manufacturer to supplier as a upstream and from manufacturer to customer as a downstream? Can anybody? All right. As we consider manufacturer is the center component, so if we stand at a mountain, so the water is coming from upside and it flows towards the downside, right? So operation or production is in the center. So we said that the water is coming from the upstream and then it moves to the downstream. Similarly, in the similar way, the raw material flow from the upside and then they transform into the finished good and then that they transfer to the customer. That is why we call the supplier side as a upstream and the customer side as a downstream. Here another terminology jumps in that is very important to understand, is known as the logistics management. Sorry, my bad, please.
ओके मेरे ख्याल है मैंने अपने हाउस रूल्स रिपीट नहीं किए. प्लीज़ अपने फ़ोन साइलेंट कर लीजिए. जो जिन के भी फ़ोन बज रहे हैं, प्लीज़ मेक श्योर दैट योर phones are on silent mode.
All right. The logistic management deals from the transportation of goods from manufacturer to the distributor and then to retailer and then to the end customer. There is another terminology that is very important to understand, is known as a reverse logistics. Now, the purpose of logistics is to bring the goods to the customer, and the purpose of reverse logistics is to bring back those goods to the manufacturer in case of any fault, any defect, in case of warranty claim. So this is a two-way process, right? And it's called a logistics management. There are another terminologies that is very important to understand before diving into the concept of operations management. It is very important to understand what are the other factors that play a key role in this entire process. Let me write it here. Quality management. Quality management is also a very key process that is important to understand, and usually we misunderstood the concept of quality. So if I ask you, what is quality? What will be your answer? Customer expectation, all right. Anything else? Can you please take a mic? Second, please. Thank you. Yes, please. You do, please. Thank you.
That our product is meeting the expectation of the customer and is free from any defects. Plus, we are making fewer error in our product, producing the product.
All right. What is yes, please. Yes, good. Very good. Very good. Please.
So, what the other participant said was the most popular definition of quality, but in fact there is not a single universal definition for quality. So there are 5 different views people hold about it. I don't exactly remember: customer-based view, product-based view, value-based view, and and the last one is transcendental.
There was a study conducted by Garment in 1985. We have identified that there are 8 dimensions of quality. Because when you are going to buy a shirt, the expectation of quality is different, right? And when you are going to buy a mobile phone, the expectations of quality are different. Because the features, their performance, the aesthetics, the I should get durability, reliability you want in a shirt is different than the mobile phone. So quality cannot be precisely defined in some single definition, although many of the scholars come towards the agreement that quality is ultimately is to satisfy the customer requirements. Similarly, the service quality are entirely different. The perception towards the product is somewhat can be easy to measure, but the perception of quality towards the service industry is very difficult to measure because you have to interact direct with the customer and direct with the human. You have a direct human interaction in which it is difficult. Some people understand things good and some take that things similar thing in a bad way. So quality management plays a vital role in a supply chain process. Other than quality, there are several more components which includes the inventory management, the forecasting, and the supplier replenishment processes, and many other tools, right? So I hope you have got the basic idea of the supply chain process. If I ask you where the operation management jumps in, the operation management deals during the manufacturing process. This is the process where we take the operation management and we try to get the benefit from its rigor, right? So let's start our session with the lean operation. Again, before diving into the concept of lean, it is very important to first understand what is the concept of operations. Still not right. देखना यार, Jasim, please. All right, what is operation? Operation management is the set of activities that create values in the form of goods and services by transforming input into output. Okay? It is a group of activities that involve in transforming input into the output. Let's take an example. If I give you a little amount of sugar and powdered milk, flour in a paper bag, and I ask you to buy it in 200 rupees, will you buy it? Definitely no. You will say it not cost more than 20 rupees. Why are you selling us in 200 rupees? But when I transform that ingredient from a process and transform it into the form of ice cream, and then I will ask you to buy it in 200 rupees. It's the same ingredient which I was selling you previously, but you were not agreed to buy it. But when I add value into the process, thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. But when I add value into the process and I sell you the same thing, you agreed to buy. So this is what operations management is. Operation management add value into your processes and it creates values ultimately which customer required, right? That value can be created in different ways. Again, let me show you the processes of operation. In any business, we have three core processes, right? One is the raw material. We transform that raw material into finished good or services. And our purpose is to earn revenue. So this is a business cycle. First we procure raw material. We transform that raw material into finished good through operations, right? Once we created a finished good, what is the purpose of creating it? The purpose is to earn money. And how we can earn money? By selling it, right? Through marketing. And again, from that revenue, we again purchase raw material, right? So there are three core functions in any organization. One is finance, second is marketing, and third is operation management. Rest of the functions are usually considered as a support function like HR, engineering, and other functions. They help our core process to run. But the main objective is to balance between these three functions. So how can we get our operation more with respect to the competitor? We should have a capable workforce, right? We should have a state-of-the-art facility. Definitely, if we have a state-of-the-art facility and a competitor don't have it, it will give a competitive edge to us, right? Third is the market and financial how-knows. If we have a better understanding of a market finance, then we may take financial loans much easier than our competitor. And last but not the least is the system and the technology. Definitely technology is playing a vital role nowadays in our businesses. It reshapes our business and it helps us to earn our revenue. Next please. Next. Alright. This is a hypothetical values from some business profile. Here we have three core functions. First one is the marketing, second one is the finance, and third one is the operation, right? Let us assume I am manufacturing this marker, and the manufacturing selling price of this marker is $1, right? And I manufacture sales 100,000 markers per year. So the total sales is about $100,000, and the cost of good, the cost that incurred on its manufacturing is $80,000. So in that way, the gross margin is $20,000. In the same way, we have to put some amount on financing. That let's assume it's $6,000. The subtotal is $14,000 after tax deduction. The total contribution is $10,500. Fair enough, right? Now, let's consider a scenario. The market executive comes to you and he said that I can increase the sales 50%. Okay? Now, what impact it will create on your total profit? The sales increase from $100,000 to $150,000. Similarly, the cost of goods also increased in the same proportion. it increased from $80,000 to $120,000. The gross margin now increased from $20,000 to $30,000, and the total contribution increased from $10,000 to $18,000. Definitely, marketing department is very important. The role it plays, it's very important, right? Now look at the finance. The finance department comes to you and he says that I can reduce the financing cost to 50%. The financing cost of this process is $6,000. It reduced this cost to the $3,000. Ultimately, the contribution, total contribution becomes $12,750. Now let's look at the role of operations, right? Here the operations jumps in. The operation teams come to you and they said we can save our cost of good 20%, just 20%. In other two cases, we consider this amount as 50%. Now the operation team says that we are going to reduce the cost just 20%. So see the impact. It drastically increased the total contribution to 22,500. It means there is obvious opportunities available in the operation that if exploited properly, they can increase your revenue many times with respect to the other departments. But usually we not focus on this parameter. We usually focus on the financing, we usually focus on the marketing and ignore the operation sides. There are various opportunities available to increase your operation and to enhance your revenue, right? So one by one we are trying to identify those factors which are the neglected areas in our business mostly, and if we focus on that, we can increase our revenue, right? Please मेरा pointer लगा देंगे आप ये लगा दें वो नहीं काम कर रहा है दोनों okay no it's fine. All right, the competitive priorities, if you are going to get competitive advantage through operations, you have to formulate the operation strategies, and that operation strategies can be formulated in 4 ways: cost, quality, time, and flexibility. Definitely cost have a one dimension. Everybody wants to perform their operation with a minimum possible cost, right? So the first dimension is the lowest cost, as much low as possible. The second is the quality. Quality can be further divided into 2 sub-dimensions. One is considered as a top quality, and second one is the consistent quality. So can anybody say what is the difference between consistent and top quality? Any idea? Consistent quality lies within the process. Whatever we are manufacturing, our process should design in a way that it produces our goods with minimum variations. While the top quality required more efforts, whatever the premium raw material we are manufacturing, we try to focus on optimizing the quality in a top quality profile. The third is the time. Time can be also further divided into 3 subcategories. Number 1 is the delivery speed. Number 2 is the development speed. Now, what is the difference between delivery speed and development speed? Any idea? Anyone? Please.
So delivery speed is your lead time. When you order and in which time you get the product.
Right.
And the process speed is how fast the processes are around.
All right, good. Anyone else? Yeah, delivery speed is a process in which you order something and in what time they're able to deliver it to you. Let's take an example of a food panda. Maybe you order food from food panda and they give you a delivery time of 30 minutes and they delivered you product within a promised time. But what about the development speed? Being in market, you should aware with your competitor. Let's assume few years back, Samsung launched a new mobile that was a Fold series. They relaunched that series, right? Previously they discontinued it. So when they relaunched, they were the pioneer in that particular segment. There was no competitor with them. So they were leading the market share. So Oppo realized this opportunity, and within the 3 months of period, they relaunched their phone with a sliding option. So this is the development speed, that how quickly you respond to your competitor and you challenge him and try to take his share. So in supply chain, whenever you are formulating your operation strategy, you have to keep it in mind that you should maintain your development speed with respect to your competitor. And the last but not the least is the flexibility. Flexibility is a process in operation which your process is flexible enough that it may have capability to handle the fluctuation in volume and the customization, right? So these four are the key components of operations. With the help of these factors, we will be able to gain competitive advantage over our competitors. These can be used as a competitive weapon, right? Now let's come to the Industrial Revolution. You know, the Industrial Revolution began in the early 18th century with the invention of steam engine, right? The steam engine actually bring the change in the industry and the process of combustion and rotating the wheel from steam. It created a drastic change in industry, right? It was a turning point, right? After that, in the early 19th century, the second Industrial Revolution took place, where Ford introduces assembly line process, right? What is assembly line process? Previously, when they were creating goods and services, the goods product will remain stationary, and the people and the force come to move to the product, and they make changes in it, and then they work and they leave. So the Ford realized that it reduces the resources, or then they develop a strategy that while we move to the product, let product move between us. So they hang their car on a conveyor belt and they start moving it between the processes, and ultimately it reduces the time, and it actually emerged as an industrial revolution, right? So after the second industrial revolution in the mid of 19th century, the third industrial revolution emerged, right? In which we introduces our automation, concept of automation, the concept of sensors, actuators, PLCs, programmable logic control system. They were introduced, and now we are living in a fourth industrial revolution era, where the human are replaced by the machines, and the concept of a smart factory and a smart industry has been introduced with the big data analytics capabilities, right? Let's relate this industrial revolution with the operation focus, right? The first two industrial revolution era was based on the cost. The objective is to reduce the cost, to perform the operation with the minimum possible cost. And during that processes, they introduced several tools and techniques, which includes the moving assembly line and the economic order quantity model, the PERT and CPM and MRP processes. These are the name of few which techniques were introduced to keep the cost of operation low. And thus quality, the concept of quality was introduced in the third industrial revolution, where the concept of lean was introduced. The concept of JIT was introduced. The ERP system were introduced. The mass customization, build to order, RFID concepts were introduced. These concepts were entirely focused on optimizing the quality. So transition is the first two industrial revolution were focused on the cost. The third revolution began focuses on the quality. And now we are living in the fourth industrial revolution, and the objective of the fourth industrial revolution is to bring the globalization, right? To trade between the borders and make the trade as easy as possible, right? So these are the operations integration with the different industrial revolution. Now, what is lean? Lean is a process of reducing waste. It is a philosophy. It is not a simple technique which we implemented in our process and we get the results. It is a philosophy, it is a way of thinking that we should think in a lean way. Whatever process we are performing, we have to design it in a way that it reduces the waste. Okay, lean is about doing more with less, doing more productive work with less effort, not doing more with less resources, right? It is not possible to perform something good with limited resources. You must have a sufficient resources with you, right? Once you have a sufficient resources, but with the optimum operation, you can reduce the waste, right? Let's look at this example. Here we have a process, and we are converting that wood tree into a wood block. So what is the value time? Customer is only paying you for the value addition. Here the value of time is only 5%, which is this time, where the transformation takes place. Refer to our earlier definition in which we discussed that operation management is a process of transforming the raw material into finished good. So only at this step the transformation takes place. What about the earlier steps? These earlier steps, from the lean perspective, they consider as a waste. They do not add any value from the customer point of view. Customer is not going to pay you for the inspection. Customer is not going to pay you for the machine alignment, for the calibration, for the counting. They only pay you for the end product. And now it is up to you that how, in which way you design your process that it reduces or minimizes the waste. Right? Now, let's come to the history of lean. Ford actually introduces the concept of assembly line. In 1950s, Toyota was about to bankrupt. The president of Toyota decided his name was Time. So the Time came and introduced a new concept in that Toyota, and they named it TPS. TPS stands for Toyota German Series. So Time actually went to the plant and he observed the machine, and that machine breaks after every day it stop working. So the Time said, why is your action when it stop working? So the engineer said that whenever it stop working, you just change the field and start working. Here Time invented a technique that is known as a 5 why. Technique that is known as a 5 why, right? He went to the machine, he said, okay, this is the problem of the machine fuse flow. He said, why that machine fuse flow? First one, they go to the previous step and they observe that the bearing got heated, that is why it become overloaded and that bearing is flow. So he said, why that bearing become heated? Then they saw that it was not getting the enough lubricant in the process, that is why they overheat. So why they are not getting the enough lubricant? Because the pump is not functioning properly. So in the 4 why process, he able to identify the root cause. What is the root cause of that particular fuse of not working, right? So this is the technique that he invented and he named it a 5 why. It seems to be a very simple. But when we use these type of small tools together and they will incrementally improve your process, it will bring a drastic change, right? So lean is a process of not drastically increasing your process. It is an approach of incremental improvement, step-by-step improvement, right? So the concept of lean was introduced by Taiichi Ohno in 1950s, and he introduced different set of tools, which we will discuss one by one, few of them definitely. And then in the mid of 19th century, in 1980, there was another technique introduced by Motorola Corporation that is known as Six Sigma. Many of you heard this name before. Motorola introduces a Six Sigma technique which is focused on reducing variability and variation from the process. So immediately that word became a buzzword in the industry, and the other companies like General Electric got benefit from the Motorola invention, and they implemented that Six Sigma technique in their processes. Nowadays, almost top 100 Fortune companies are using Lean and Six Sigma techniques in their operation, in their processes to streamline and to optimize their operations, right? So this was the brief history of Lean Six Sigma. All right, what is the principle of Lean? The principle of Lean, as we discussed, Lean is a business philosophy, not just a set of methods for improvement. This business philosophy was derived from Toyota experiencing, and particularly from its Toyota production system, TPS. The focus is on reducing waste in all business processes. The result is reduction of cost lead time, as well as increase in quality. So the Taiichi Ohno, after introduces different sets of tools in TPS, which includes the JIT, a Pokayoki concept, 5S, 5 Ys, I should say failure effect analysis, value stream maps. These were the tools by the help of which they use those tools in a manner, in a way that they ultimately improve the processes, right? So Taiichi Ohno identified that in any process there are 8 types of waste, and these wastes are serious waste. If you manage to eliminate these wastes from your process will improve and maybe optimize, right? So first is the overproduction. Here it brings the concept of JIT, pull inventory system. Have you heard that concept of pull inventory before? Any idea? Yes, please. Sir, after you. Please.
When we receive demand from the market, then we start the production of that product. That is the GIT system, just in time distribution system.
Yes, JIT. And what about the pull?
Our strategy is also, for example, there are two types of strategy in the marketing: pull strategy and push strategy.
Yes.
So in pull strategy, you get the demand from the market and then you start creating that product. But in the push strategy, you create the product and then push it in the market.
Yes, Toyota start actually their production processes based on a pull mechanism. So whenever you are going to buy Toyota, they ask you for the order, and they ask you to wait for 2 or 3 months, and then they will deliver you the car. So they receive your order first, and then they initiate the production process. Once the product created, they send it to you. So this is the pull process. What is the advantage of using pull process? Because it reduces the inventory. Inventory is considered as an evil in a terminology of quality. Because if you have excess amount of inventory, definitely there is a lot of cost incurred on it, right? So that is why the operation and supply chain professionals considered quality inventory as an evil. So JIT and the pull processes helps you to reduce your inventory level and ultimately optimizes the quality, which reduces the cost, right? So the first waste type of waste that Taiichi Ohno introduced is the overproduction, right? The second waste is the waiting. He said that you should avoid the waiting in your operations. There should not be, machine should not be idle. It should not wait for the inventory. You should incorporate a pull mechanism in your process, and whenever inventory is required, it should be called, right? The third technique is the inventory. As we already said that TPS adopt JIT inventory mechanism. JIT is a just-in-time inventory mechanism which is based on a pull inventory system. The third is the movement. Taiichi Ohno says that the movement of inventory from one point to other and then other to third position is waste. Now here I want to ask you, because most of you belong to the maritime industry, how you relate this type, particularly this waste, the movement in your maritime sector, in your shipping lines, in your port operations, because usually it creates a lot of waste in these operations. Can anybody please? Any idea? Yes, please.
I'm new to the industry, but I'm looking, for example, if they are making more moves, that can be considered as a waste in the maritime industry.
Can you relate it with your industry right now? You are working in port operations, or?
So, for example, there is a concept of fuel
Right.
in the maritime industry, the terminal industry.
Mhm.
For example, अगर एक कंटेनर को उठा के हम दूसरी जगह पे रख रहे हैं, अगर हम उसके moves को बढ़ा देते, for example, if we are lacking in planning, हम उसको पहले एक vessel से उठा के नीचे रखते हैं, उसके बाद हम एक और जगह रखते हैं, then we get to know कि नहीं, this is not the right starting place, we have to again move it to another place, then that can be considered as a waste in terms of movement.
तो ये हो रहा होता है हमारे प्रोसेसेस के अंदर? Happens. तो देखें, ये एक छोटी सी चीज़ है कि if we focus it properly, we can increase our revenue. और ये छोटी छोटी चीज़ें ही मिलके ultimately एक बड़ा impact create कर रही होती है, ठीक है? तो lean operation is a strategy that is focusing on these small factors, and ultimately when they combine together, they bring a big change, right? So another is the effort. It is very important to not waste the efforts of your employees. Try to do the things correct in first step, right? The next is the rework of errors. You should not create errors in the process. Over-processing is also considered as one type of the waste. If something is performed in 2 or 3 steps, no need to include 7 or 8 complex steps in that process. And last but not the least is the underutilized talent. You know, Japan have a whole system organization approach. What is that approach? They have a set of employees with them, and they ask them, they give a particular problem, they put a particular problem in front of them, and they ask to their employees, who is capable enough to solve this problem? Whether he is from the engineering department, whether he is from the IT department, anybody can raise and say, sir, I can solve this problem. So they give that chance to him, right? This concept is considered as a whole organization approach. They don't have any teams, they don't have any functional organization structure. They have an open organization structure in which all considered as a knowledge worker, and they give values to the all employees. And the ultimate objective is to resolve the problem, not to consider it as, right? So this is the way Japanese work. So these are the 7 or 8 types of ways that Lean Taichi Ono introduced in the process, and if we work on these ways, ultimately we will be able to increase our optimization or increase our operations. Now, the just-in-time, TPS, and lean management. So the JIT focuses on continuous force problem solving, right? The TPS emphasizes on continuous improvement, respect of people, and standard work practices in an assembly line process. TPS also introduced one term that is known as Kaizen. How many have you heard this term before? The Kaizen. Yes. So what is Kaizen? Can you please answer? Continuous improvement. Still, if any, yes, please. Step by step, continuous improvement. If you have interact with any employee of Toyota Corporation, they are still implementing this mechanism in their processes. Yes, sir, please.
I was the one to introduce Kaizen in Toyota.
Zabardast, mashallah. Right. So they actually, please clap for him. Definitely, he's a very good resource with us. So, sir, can you please tell us what are the processes? What is the process?
Kaizen is implemental approach.
Sajid sir, please mic अगर आप दे दें. Thank you. Mic थोड़ा more. So please.
All right. So Kaizen was basically was invented and perfected in Toyota Corporation in their famous Kamigo plant, and I had an opportunity and honor to get in the same plant. And in 1992, we introduced Kaizen in Toyota Indus Motor. Kaizen is basically a continuous improvement approach in which employees are trained to improve their processes, their product, their systems. There are 2 ways Kaizen is done. One, through creative suggestion system, which is basically individual-based approach, in which organization find a wonderful idea to improve or to address these 7 ways, he can come up with his own ideas.
Right.
And the second approach is team-based approach, in which group of workers or their supervisors, they work together and solve a problem and come up with some innovative and good idea. That is very simple. Kaizen is very simple. So there are different tools and techniques that are used when you do Kaizen activities as a group.
Right.
And they are called Kaizen circles. The Kaizen circles work on a problem which requires a group-based approach. An individually simply cannot do it at his or her own level. So the team actually come up with the idea, and sometimes they take 6 months or maybe a year to complete the project. It's quite comprehensive as compared to individual suggestion system. So yes, that's a revolutionary idea that was invented in Kamigo plant.
Thank you. And you know, in Toyota Corporation, give their appraisals on the basis of Kaizen. That whatever improvement you have suggested, ultimately it reflects in your appraisals, annual appraisals, right? So lean management emphasizes on the customer. Okay. Next one. Please देख लीजिए. All right, thank you. The lean layout is actually focused on a cell space structure, right? Build work cell for families of product. Okay, you have any ideas of cellular structure in industry? Cellular structure, you know, Toyota production, the output, the throughput time of Toyota car is, I should say, it's some industry standard, is the highest in the industry. Okay, Toyota is about to manufacture 800 cars a day, right? Which is quite high. So, but the plant of assembly line of Toyota is the smallest in the industry. So they actually implemented these 8 ways in their assembly line area, and they implemented, they reduced the motion, they reduced the transportation, and ultimately these all processes enhance their operation and productivity, right? So they actually incorporated a cellular structure, production structure in their facility, right? And another thing that lean incorporate is include a large operation in a small areas that I already explained you, right? Third is the minimize the distance. Definitely if you use a cell structure, they are quite closer to each other, so they avoid unnecessary movements and unnecessary transportation of material. Design little space for inventory. There is a no concept of inventory. They implemented a 5S mechanism. You have any idea what is 5S? 5S is also one of the tools that Lean uses. Any idea what is 5S? All right, we will discuss this later if we have enough time. They also introduced one technique that is known as a pokayoke. Pokayoke is a Japanese word which means mistake proofing. This technique was introduced by Toyota Corporation, and the purpose of is to avoid the occurrence of mistake, right? So they also incorporated this technique. And next is the build flexible or movable equipments and cross-train workers to add flexibility. They usually have a job rotation in their factory line. What is the purpose of that? Any idea? Because usually we assume that we should prepare master of one, not the jack of all. But the Toyota is believes in the jack of all process. Why? To attain the flexibility. Yes.
Sometimes you have to fulfill the order of the customer, and you don't have enough resources. So that's how you go.
Yes, this is one of the reasons.
Sir, as we have told that Toyota is following the work cell, the cellular methodology, the cross-training actually boosts the performance within the work cell. Because if in a work cell, if someone needs help, if everybody is cross-trained, so they all can implement or augment the work in the work cell and the performance.
Yes, definitely. Anything else? Yes, please.
There might be another reason. If you know the other person's challenges, what problem they are facing, so you will also be able to help them, and there will be a teamwork.
Yes, if you do, yes, please, sir.
The number one reason for flexible workforce is to address the fluctuation in demand.
Yes.
Because in whole system, the demand is determined by the buyer.
Yes.
So, you know, if there is a fluctuation in demand, so you need to adjust your workforce. And in an assembly plant, which is a complicated set of processes, you cannot simply afford to keep people idle. Number one. Number two, you require a holistic approach to train your employees, to develop them, to promote them. But
Yes.
you know, the reason number one is to adjust the demand dictated by the whole system of production.
Correct, 100%. Another factor that you have raised is the, if you are doing the same thing again and again, because it is a repetitive process in our industry, so you get bored. So the HR department try to make your job challenging. They rotate you to the different departments, so you experience new things every time. Ultimately, it will make your job challenging and it will motivate you that you are doing something valuable, right? So this is also one of the purpose of rotating between the different departments. All right, GIT inventory. First of all, the tactics that we use in a GIT inventory use a pull system to move inventory, right? Second is the reduce a lot sizes. Third is to develop a just-in-time delivery system with the supplier, because supplier, when you are trying to incorporate a GIT mechanism, then providing you the required amount of raw material become challenging for the supplier. So you have to create a relationship with the supplier, yet you have to take them into the loop and you have to create a win-win situation, right? So concern of suppliers are there, and delivery directly to the point of use, that is the purpose of GIT. And perform as per schedule, reduce setup time, and use group technologies, as we have already discussed that they use a cellular network in their process. All right, now here another term jumps in that is actually introduced by the Toyota Corporation, which is very similar to the lean, and now these two terminologies used together in improving the processes, and they're known as a Lean Six Sigma, right? Lean Six Sigma, LSS. So we have just discussed the concept of lean. Now we are going to discuss the Six Sigma, and then we discuss how these two terminologies cumulatively impact the industry and our operation. So the Six Sigma is a comprehensive feasible system for achieving, sustaining, and maximizing business success by minimizing defects, variability in a process, right? The Six Sigma approach focuses on reducing spread and centering a process. Let's consider that ICC gives you a contract to manufacture cricket ball for them, okay? And they give you dimensions that the upper specification limit should be 30 mm, let's assume 30 mm, and the lower specification limit LSL should be 20 mm. And the mean value should be 25 mm, right? So this is your process, right? You have defined the upper specification limit and the lower specification limit and the mean value. So what does this curve means? Bell curve. Why we call it a bell curve? Normal distribution, it's shaped like a bell, that is why we call it a bell curve, right? Normal distribution means the same way of data towards the right side of the mean and the left side of the mean, right? So this is the data distribution. It means, let me simplify this process first, right? This is continuous data or discrete data, any idea? Continuous data, all right? Let's take an example. If I ask you to measure the height of the tree within the university, right? So आप लोग जाएंगे, आपने measure किया, let assume it start with the shortest tree in the university is 5 feet tall, and the tallest, let assume 20 feet tall. So you go and measure 10 trees, maybe have height of 5 to 5.2, right? And 20 trees may have height of 5.2 to 5.4, right? And similarly, in that way, you have different data with you. You collect different data, and this data actually represents the, in that way we represent the data, right? So let's take this example in this case, right? We are manufacturing ball, we are manufacturing 20,000 balls, right? So the huge number of ball, maximum number of balls should lie between these first two standard deviations, right? And then slowly they disperse away from the mean, right? This is the whole data distribution works, right? So the Six Sigma process focuses on reducing the variability from the process, and they try to keep the production and the services converge towards the mean, right? So this is a normal process, and this process is out of statistical control limits, right? Before this process is leading towards the right side, upper control limit. So we have different sigma processes. The green line shows the 2 sigma process, where the red line shows the 4 sigma process, and the blue line shows the 6 sigma process, which is more converged towards the mean, right? So in a simple words, we can say that if we are manufacturing 1 million product, DPM, defects per million opportunity, if we are manufacturing 1 million components or 1 million products, the defects may, the chances of defects in this case, the chances of defects is out of 1 million, there will be a chance that 690,000 defects product may be defective, right? And the 3 sigma is usually considered as an industrial standard, in which our process is 93.13% accurate, which have a probability of having a 66,807 defective products out of 1 million. And if we are going to implement or maintain a 6 sigma process in our facility, it means your process is 99.9999967% accurate. The deviation is only 3.4 products per million. So this is the level of 6 sigma. Now the industry introduced new standard, which is considered as a 0 defect. They move beyond the 6 sigma. Many companies like Apple and other companies, they are implementing this benchmark in their industry, right? So, together Lean and Six Sigma work in a way that they ultimately, Lean focuses on the remove waste, it focuses on increased process speed, eliminate non-value added activities from your process, fix connection between steps, and improve process efficiency, while the Six Sigma focuses on reduce variation, improve quality and accuracy, optimizing and maintaining process steps, and improve processes. And the purpose and the prime objective of both of these techniques is to focus on the customer satisfaction. I believe I make the basic understanding of Lean and Six Sigma clear to you. Now let's come to the practical application of these terminologies, how they work and how they help you in reshaping your business processes, right? Lean uses PDCA approach. This PDCA approach, also known as dimming cycle. Dimming is known as the father of quality management. After World War II, America provide aid to Japan, and they send their experts to Japan to review their processes and to rebuild their economy. So they also sent Deming to Japan. Deming was the professor of statistics, and when they went to Japan, he observed several things, that Japan is quite good in quality. So he tried to implement the statistical concepts in quality management. That is why they named Deming as a father of quality. He proposed his 14 points to optimize the quality processes, and he also proposed the PDCA cycle, which is considered nowadays as one of the important tool in lean methodology. PDCA stands for plan, do, check, and act. The purpose is to review the process in a continuous way and to try to improve the process continuously. Similarly, DMAIC introduced Six Sigma introduces a tool that is known as DMAIC. D stands for define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Right? Lean introduces a tool that is known as PDCA, while Six Sigma introduces tool that is known as DMAIC approach, DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Nowadays, we use these both techniques to optimize our process, to reduce the cost, to enhance the quality, right? So these tools are very effective, and there are hundreds of tools available, hundreds of tools. And that is why they have different level of certification. It starts from the white belt, then yellow belt, then green belt, and then a master black belt of Lean Six Sigma. Master black belt Lean Sigma is capable of having understanding of 100 plus tools of Lean Six Sigma, and when they came to your organization, they try to implement a different set of tools to reshape your organization and to reduce your cost, right? So these are the list of few tools that are actually used by the Lean Six Sigma processes. I used to conduct research using Lean Six Sigma technique, and let me show you one of my research paper in which I use Lean Six Sigma and how I use different set of tools in a DMAIC process way to improve the process, right? So please आप थोड़ा file change कीजिएगा. Excuse me. रिसर्च पेपर था DMAIC. DMAIC 1 करके था. Yes. So zoom करें please title. Yes. Implementation of Lean Six Sigma project in enhancing healthcare service during COVID-19 pandemic. During the COVID pandemic, we know that there were several issues arises, and one of the issue is faced by the blood bank hospital, right? They are facing issue in their providing their services to their normal operation because they were treating both the COVID patient and the normal patient on a single floor, right, in a single facility. So this is the concern for the patient, that they have concern that if they come to that facility, they may get infected. So initially, when the COVID vaccination was in development phase, they tried different remedies for the treatment of COVID. One was with a passive immunization system. Passive immunization system was a technique that they take cells from the COVID recovered patient, and then they infuse that plasma into the infected patients and try to recover them. They try to create immunity in their body with the passive immunization system. So the Pakistan Blood Bank introduces that technique, initiated that technique, and they try to implement a blood diffusing system in their processes. Though the patient weren't concerned about that, if they came to that facility, they may get infected. So this is the issue that they raised. Please scroll down. So the first phase in the DMAIC process is to define the problem, right? So we define the problem by using a tool that is known as VOC, Voice of Customer, right? On each line, please. So as I mentioned earlier, there is not a one specific tool for each phase. There are several possible tools that you can use. It depends upon you that what flexibility of tool you want in your process, right? So in the define phase, first I use VOC, which stands for Voice of Customer. In that tool, we try to identify the CTQ. CTQ stands for Critical to Quality. First, we try to identify the critical to quality parameters, and then we convert the CTQ into VOC, that is known as the voice of customer, and then interrelate that VOC with the VOB, that is voice of business. So we usually perform this using a graphical method. Please, agar aap next slide पे, I just want to show them a graph. No, इसी पे आप नीचे scroll करें. This is a diagram. इसको थोड़ा zoom करें, please. और थोड़ा जूम कर लीजिए. यस. सो आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं कि ये जो है ये सेंटर कंपोनेंट इज नोन एज अ CTQ, critical to quality. So first we identify the customer requirements by identify the VOC, that is known as the voice of customer, and from the other side we also have a voice of business. So the objective of the VOC tool is to align the both voice of customer and the voice of business together, right? So this is the first tool that I use. Can you please move? Scroll kare niche. Another tool that I use in this case study is the CPOC diagram. CPOC or COPIS, both are the same. CPOC stands for supplier, input, process, output, and customer. Some researchers believe that customer is the prime objective, so we have to put customer at the first place. So they reverse the process. CPOC from COPIS. COPIS stands for customer, output, process, input, and supplier. So first, in that way, I depict the entire process, that what process actually issue they are facing. There is another technique that can be used instead of these two tools, is known as a value stream map. Value stream map is also a graphical depiction of a process in which you identify the value added and the non-value added process service activities into your process, and then you can focus in and try to minimize the waste. So these two tools first I use. Then please can you scroll up? Scroll up please, up. Yes, little bit more. Yes, this one. थोड़ा सा और ऊपर जाइएगा. एक और मैंने दिखाना है प्रोजेक्ट चार्टर. जी और ऊपर जाए. नहीं, नीचे आए, थोड़ा सा प्रोजेक्ट चार्टर आएगा इसके अंदर. वॉइस ऑफ कस्टमर, कोपिस, एंड देन army diagram. Okay, I created an army diagram. Army diagram stands for the define and align the army diagram with the DMAIC process. In army diagram, A stands for approver, R stands for resource person, M stands for manpower, and I inform for informed person. Okay? So this is a communication chart that you develop in your process, that who reports to whom, at what phase you have to inform to whom in your organization. Please scroll can you This is a project communication plan. Okay? You have to define, because DMAIC is a structured approach. You have to use tools in such a way that they complement each other in a cascading process, right? First you have to identify something, then that moves to the second process, then third, then fourth, then fifth. So ultimately, by using the 5 different tools, I become able to identify the problem, right? Please move to the next step. Once the problem has been identified, the next step is to measure it. So to measure the problem, we use in this process the first tool, that is a fishbone diagram. Fishbone diagram is also known as root cause diagram or Ishikawa diagram, because it was invented by Ishikawa, who was a Japanese quality expert. So this diagram, we use fishbone diagram to identify what are the factors that implementing this particular issue, right? After fishbone diagram, we use another tool that is known as from fishbone diagram, we identify the main cause and what may be the possible causes of that particular problem, and we named it Y and X. Y is the dependent variable and X is the independent variable that is actually causing that Y. Okay, please can you scroll down? No, after fishbone diagram, major. Yes. Then we measure, okay, these may be the causes of this particular issue. Then we implement another tool that is known as a analyze. In this case, I implemented a Kano model. Kano model was introduced by Naoki Kano in 1984. Kano model was introduced by Naoki Kano in 1984. The purpose of Kano model is to identify the customer wants, customer needs and customer excitement levels. ठीक है? Let me explain you the Kano model. आप थोड़ा scroll करें तो मैं इनको Kano model के factors भी दिखा दूँ please. और नीचे लाएं. और नीचे लाएं please. Yes, either. Okay, Kano model actually can be drawn between the requirement fulfilled and unfulfilled versus the satisfactory level and the unsatisfactory level. So I distributed a questionnaire among the customers and I asked them, what if this will happen, what will be your response? Will you be satisfied? Will it be a performance parameter or will it be an excitement parameter? In Kano model, Kano measures 3 core parameters. One, he says that they are requirements or they are the basic needs. Second is the performance and third is the excitement. If your values lie between these values, they named it as a needs, must attribute. And if you give them some services, so they make that process, he call it performance. And the last is the excitement. Let me explain you with a simple example. Assume you are traveling from Karachi to Dubai, right? What was your basic expectation? When you land there, you will have your luggage with you. If you will have your luggage at airport, what you feel? What was your feeling? Normal? But when you land at airport and they say, sorry sir, we missed your luggage, then what will be your feelings? Definitely you become angry. So they Kano measure that particular perception on this graph, and he said that this is a must-be attribute that should be present within the label service level. If it presents, it's okay, nothing will happen. But if it will not present, definitely it will create a negative response. Similarly, he proposed another dimension, that is a performance. So if you are traveling from Karachi to Dubai and you have reserved a seat and you are expecting that there will be no entertainment, and when you came to know that they just installed a new digital screen and they are offering the Netflix over there, right? So it will increase the performance level. They are giving you more features, so it increases your performance level, right? Last is the excitement level. Excitement level are the level of services that you were not expecting, right? For example, they make a call that you are upgraded to first class. So this was the level of service that you were not expecting from that particular service provider. So it will definitely increase your excitement level, and so and ultimately increase your satisfaction. So Kano portrayed this diagram, and I use this diagram in a DMAIC process to identify the customer perception that what they will feel if they were treated with the same patients, and what if they were treated isolated, and if we create another facility for them. So this is the tool, that one of the tool I use in this process. Next please, can you scroll down? After DMA, after measure, we have to analyze, and I analyze using the Kano diagram, and then I use the 5Y technique, that what will happen if this continues, right? And then in the control phase, can you please scroll down? I use a Kaizen technique. So the purpose of showing you this paper is that DMAIC has ability to transform your processes, to address your problems in a structured way that ultimately helps to increase your efficiency in a process, right? It is not limited to the medical or any other industry. There are several set of tools available that if you use them, and ultimately it will help in reshaping your processes. This is the only one paper I have studied, conducted 3 or 4 different researches, and I changed the processes using these tools. Another paper if I show you in which I use different set of tools, right? So the lean mechanism is a process in which you use different set of tools and ultimately try to reshape your business performance. Yes, any questions from your side? कुछ अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहें आप लोग कि आप लोगों ने अपनी इंडस्ट्री के अंदर कभी लीन मैकेनिज्म या इस तरह की कोई सिचुएशन फेस करी हो, और कोई आप लोगों ने उसके लिए कोई स्ट्रक्चर्ड अप्रोच यूज़ करी हो? इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि आपने लीन और सिक्स सिग्मा नहीं किया हो, बल्कि कोई और प्रॉब्लम है। मैं तो चाहूँगा कि आप प्लीज़ अपनी पेपर्स के ऊपर कोई एक प्रॉब्लम लिखें जो आपने अपनी इंडस्ट्री के अंदर कभी फेस करी हो, तो हम देखें कि हम किस सेट ऑफ टूल्स को यूज़ करते हुए एक स्ट्रक्चर वे के अंदर उस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। ऐसा नहीं है कि प्रॉब्लम को बगैर किसी स्ट्रक्चर प्रोसेस के भी सॉल्व किया जा सकता है, लेकिन जब आप किसी स्ट्रक्चर्ड अप्रोच को यूज़ करते हैं तो अल्टीमेटली वो आपको फैसिलिटेट करती है, एक तो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के अंदर, दूसरा जब आपके पास कोई न्यू एम्प्लॉयज़ आते हैं तो उनको हेल्प करती है उस प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाने के लिए, ताकि वो अपना थिंकिंग प्रोसेस को उसके साथ इंटरकनेक्ट करके जो है वो आगे चल सकें। ठीक है, तो आई होप कोई अगर आप अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहें इस हवाले से, कभी आपने इंडस्ट्री में कोई ऐसी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करी हो और फेस करी हो, और किस तरीके से फिर आपने उसको सॉल्व करके आगे चले हो। एनी वन ऑफ यू प्लीज। जी डॉक्टर साहब।
हेलो, am I audible? जी। हमारे यहाँ व्हेन आई वाज इन द इंडस्ट्री, तो हम लोग कुछ पायलट प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम करते थे, इम्प्रूवमेंट, कंटिन्यूस इम्प्रूवमेंट के हवाले से। तो बिजनेस की इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस में कुछ ऐसे पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम करते थे जो पहले कभी नहीं हुए। मिसाल के तौर पे रीचिंग टू द प्लेसेस वेयर द डिलीवरी वैन्स कैन नॉट रीच टू द कस्टमर्स। वहाँ पर हमने एक पायलट प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट किया जिसमें हम बाइक्स के थ्रू प्रोडक्ट को अवेलेबल करते थे। तो प्लान डू एक्ट के थ्रू हमने इसको हमने क्या करा कि हमारे पास मल्टीपल, उस प्रोजेक्ट को फुल फ्लैश लॉन्च करने से पहले हमने जो हमारी बेस्ट रिसोर्सेज थी उसको हमने इम्प्लीमेंट किया, उनको एज ए डिलीवरी बॉय, क्योंकि वो एज ए ऑर्डर बुक उसी वो डिलीवर करते थे, ऑन स्पॉट सेल के थे। स्पॉट सेलिंग के कॉन्सेप्ट हम लेके आए, उसको हमने क्रिटिकली एनालाइज किया और हमने अपने रिसोर्सेज को लगा के और उसको हमने जो है वो मॉनिटर किया, और मॉनिटर करने के बाद जो है जब हमें फील हुआ कि दिस इज़ गुड टू गो, तो फिर हमने उसको फुल फ्लैश कराची में इम्प्लीमेंट किया। तो ये प्रोजेक्ट था। तो मैंने
ज़बरदस्त, वेल डन। और कोई एक्सपीरियंस अपना शेयर करना चाहे कि आप लोगों ने कभी किसी, जी प्लीज़ मैडम, थैंक यू।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर।
अस्सलाम।
आपकी सर इस प्रेजेंटेशन का बड़ा मज़ा आया, आपने बड़े आसान और सादा अल्फाज में चीज़ों को समझाया।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
अनफॉर्चुनेटली एक प्रॉब्लम है, ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मेरे लिए नहीं भी थी बिकॉज आई एम नॉट टू अप्लाई, बट आई एम अनएबल टू कोरिलेट ऑल दिस इंफॉर्मेशन विद द मैरीटाइम सेक्टर, सप्लाई चेन और supply chain in maritime sector or port operations. So can you help me in this regard?
डेफिनेटली
Thank you, sir.
देखिए, ऑपरेशंस जो हैं वो हम अपने मैरीटाइम सेक्टर या अपने पोर्ट ऑपरेशन के अंदर अमूमन कर रहे होते हैं, तो वहाँ पे हम बहुत सारी चीज़ें एक्टिविटीज़ ऐसी कर रहे होते हैं जो कि कोई वैल्यू एडिशन नहीं कर रही होती। जैसे मैंने आपको बात करी, टाइची ओनो ने 7 टाइप्स ऑफ वेस्ट को आइडेंटिफाई कराया, तो वो वेस्ट हमें अपने प्रोसेसेस के अंदर आइडेंटिफाई करने हैं। ऐसा नहीं है कि हम कोई आपको एक सेट ऑफ कोई टूल रिकमेंड कर दें कि ये सॉफ्टवेयर लगा के आपके सारे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएंगे। प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए आपको एक थिंकिंग प्रोसेस इनिशिएट करना होता है। वो थिंकिंग प्रोसेस एक दफ़ा प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई, देखिए प्रॉब्लम ये नहीं है कि बीमारी क्या है, बीमारी की आइडेंटिफिकेशन बहुत ज़रूरी है। ठीक है, बुखार होने को हम क्या कहेंगे, एक बीमारी है। बुखार होना, हैविंग अ फीवर इज़ नॉट अ डिजीज़, इट्स अ सिम्टम। ठीक है, अगर हम सिम्टम को टेम्पररी ट्रीट करते रहेंगे तो हम अपने रूट कॉज पे नहीं पहुंच सकेंगे। तो ऑपरेशन एफिशिएंसी ऐसी ही होती है, दे हेल्प यू टू आइडेंटिफाई द रूट कॉज, and the Lean Six Sigma have those tools that help you to identify the root cause in the process. They are not limited to in the manufacturing sector, they have a vast application in service industry also. Since port operation and the shipping line is the service industry, you have to identify that what are the weak areas in the process. What are the process that actually restricting your throughput time. आपका TSU किस वजह से डिक्रीज़ हो रहा है, आपने अपनी कंटेनर की प्लानिंग्स किस तरीके से करनी है, आपने शेड्यूलिंग किस तरीके से अलाइन करनी है, आपने किस तरीके से रिसोर्सेज को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है, आपने पोकायोकी कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करना है, मिस्टेक प्रूफिंग को, हैजर्ड्स को किस तरीके से एलिमिनेट करना है। तो लीन सिक्स सिग्मा आपको वो अप्रोच प्रोवाइड करते हैं, वो सेट ऑफ टूल्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं जो आप अपने एरिया में बैठ के आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं। बताने का मकसद ये नहीं है कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर के अंदर टूल्स को लिया जाए, बहुत सारे टूल्स ऐसे होते हैं जिनकी वास्ट एप्लीकेशन होती है। दैट इज़ वाई आई कंसिडर यू एज अ एक्सपर्ट। फॉर मी यू आर द एक्सपर्ट ऑफ मैरीटाइम इंडस्ट्री। आई एम द वन हु कैन मेक यू अवेयर विद दीज सेट ऑफ टूल्स। नाउ इट्स योर जॉब टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट इन विच एरिया यू कैन इम्प्लीमेंट विच टूल। आप किस एरिया के अंदर प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हैं, उन प्रॉब्लम्स को आप कैसे इन टूल्स की मदद से हेल्प करेंगे। आई कैन हेल्प यू इन रिजॉल्विंग दैट प्रॉब्लम। आई कैन हेल्प यू कि आप किस सेट ऑफ टूल्स को यूज़ करके अपनी मैरीटाइम सेक्टर की या अपने ऑपरेशंस की कौन सी प्रॉब्लम को रिजॉल्व कर सकते हैं। बट प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई करना आपका काम है। मैं प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर सकूंगा आपके सेक्टर के अंदर। हाँ, उस वक्त की जा सकती है कि जब मुझे आपको एक प्रोसेस मैप प्रोवाइड कर दे, उस प्रोसेस मैप के अंदर आपके जो सारी एक्टिविटीज़ वैल्यू एडेड नॉन है, द फर्स्ट स्टेप इज टू ड्रॉ अ VSM, विजुअल डायग्राम। उस विजुअल डायग्राम को जब तक आप ड्रॉ नहीं करेंगे, आपको अपने प्रोसेस में वीकनेस नजर ही नहीं आएंगी। आप बोलेंगे हमारा प्रोसेस तो स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट है, लेकिन जब आप VSM करेंगे, वैल्यू स्ट्रीम मैप ड्रॉ करेंगे, उसके अंदर आपको पता चलेगा कितनी वैल्यू एडेड एक्टिविटीज़ है, कितनी नॉन वैल्यू एक्टिविटीज़ है। कितनी दफ़ा जाके आप कंटेनर्स की नंबरिंग को चेक करते हैं, कितनी दफ़ा जाके आप उसकी इंस्पेक्शन करते हैं, कितनी दफ़ा आप उसको मूव करते हैं एक फोरम से दूसरे फोरम तक। तो ये जब एक्टिविटीज़ को आप आइडेंटिफाई कर लेंगे तो मैं आपको उसमें फैसिलिटेट कर सकूंगा कि ये सेट ऑफ टूल्स है जिनकी मदद से आप इस प्रॉब्लम को रिजॉल्व कर सकते हैं। तो आज के इस सेशन का मकसद भी यही था कि आपको उन सेट ऑफ टूल्स से आउट ऑफ बॉक्स अप्रोच दी जाए कि एक ट्रेडिशनल वे के अंदर हर प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व नहीं किया जा सकता, आपको आउट ऑफ बॉक्स आके सोचना पड़ता है। और जब तक ये चीज़ें डॉक्यूमेंटेड नहीं होंगी आप उनको रिजॉल्व नहीं कर सकेंगे। आप वर्बल सोल्यूशन तो क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, सजेस्ट कर सकते हैं, लेकिन एक अल्टीमेट सोल्यूशन देने के लिए आपके लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स जाके सोचें। आप ये सोचें कि इस प्रॉब्लम को कैसे मैं इन टूल्स से यूज़ करके, मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच जो आजकल चल रही है वो यही है कि किस तरीके से आप इंजीनियरिंग और दूसरी इंडस्ट्री के टूल्स को यूज़ कर सकते हैं अपनी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए। यस प्लीज़। Yes.
बाकी जिस भी टाइप के वेसल्स जो है हमारे बर्थ पे वो खड़े होते हैं, तो बेसिकली जो मेन मसला, क्योंकि मैं भी 4 मंथ से हूँ, जो मेन प्रॉब्लम है वो यही है क्योंकि डॉक्यूमेंटेशन नहीं है। और वो इस वजह से नहीं है क्योंकि रिसेंटली KGTL ने KGTML को ओवरटेक किया है। क्योंकि जो फर्स्ट इंशाल्लाह फ्यूचर में हम लोग भी मेन जो हम अपनी प्रायोरिटी लिस्ट में रखेंगे कि हमें डॉक्यूमेंट करने हैं अपने सारे प्रोसेसेस को, बिकॉज वी डोंट डील इन वन वेसल, वी डील विद डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ वेसल, जिसमें कार कैरियर्स भी हो सकते हैं, कुछ क्लिंकर के वेसल्स भी हो सकते हैं। तो मेन इशू यही है जो मैंने फेस किया है, क्योंकि मैं न्यू हूँ इंडस्ट्री में, डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस नहीं है। प्रोसेसेस का एक वे नहीं है जो डॉक्यूमेंटेड हो चुका हो. अगर वो ऑलरेडी डॉक्यूमेंट होता तो मेरे लिए ज़्यादा इजी था, क्योंकि आई हैव टू गो ऑन द फील्ड टू नो व्हाट दे आर डूइंग, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट ऑन द पेपर. So inshallah, what I have learned that we have to document everything.
Okay, thank you very much. आप लोगों ने एक मूवी देखी होगी पीके, उसमें शाहरुख खान, आमिर खान का बड़ा एक्साइटिंग कैरेक्टर था. वो क्या करता था, हाथ पकड़ के जो ना दूसरे के माइंड को रीड कर लिया करता था. तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे अंदर वो कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है. हमें क्या करना पड़ता है, हमें दूसरे के माइंड को समझने के लिए ना कुछ टूल्स और टेक्निक्स को यूज़ करना पड़ता है. दैट इज़ वाई वी आर यूजिंग अ फिशबोन डायग्राम. फिशबोन डायग्राम इज इंटरैक्टिव टूल जिसमें हमें ब्रेन स्टॉर्मिंग को इनकलकेट करते हैं और कहते हैं तुम्हारे जो आइडियाज़ हैं वो भी इस पर ड्रॉ करो, मैं अपने आइडियाज़ भी करता हूँ, बाकी लोग भी अपने आइडियाज़ को ड्रॉ करते हैं. और जब हमारे पास एक बड़े स्पेक्ट्रम के ऊपर बहुत सारे फीचर्स आ जाते हैं तो हमें उस पर नैरो डाउन करना, फिल्टर करना आसान हो जाता है. तो ये जो टूल्स टेक्निक्स हैं ये इसी पर्पज़ के लिए डिज़ाइन किए जाते हैं कि चीज़ों को डॉक्यूमेंट किया जाए, आने वाले लोगों को फैसिलिटेट किया जाए कि अगर वो इसके अंदर से कुछ एक्सट्रैक्ट करना चाह रहे हैं, कुछ सोल्यूशन निकालना चाह रहे हैं, तो जो पास डेटा है वो उनके पास ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल हो और वो उससे आगे चीज़ों को लेके चले. अदरवाइज क्या होगा, एक ही चीज़ बार बार रिपीट होती जाएगी, प्रॉब्लम्स की अकेरेंस आती रहेगी, सोल्यूशन की तरफ जाएंगे नहीं और टेम्प्रेरी सोल्यूशन हम रिएक्टिव अप्रोच को यूज़ करते रहेंगे. प्रोएक्टिव मैकेनिज्म को, प्रोएक्टिव अप्रोच को यूज़ करने के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम उनको प्रॉपर और स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे के अंदर डॉक्यूमेंट करें और स्ट्रक्चर वे के अंदर स्ट्रक्चर्ड प्रॉब्लम पैराडाइम सब अप्रोच को अडॉप्ट करें. तो मेरा मकसद आपको इस सेशन में ही बताना था कि ऑपरेशंस के अंदर आप किस तरीके से एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग पैराडाइम को आप जो है यूज़ कर सकते हैं अपने प्रोसेस के अंदर से एरर्स को रिमूव करने के लिए और अपने प्रोसेस की एफिशिएंसी को बढ़ाने के लिए. दैट इज़ ऑल. एनी अदर क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम योर साइड? यस सर, प्लीज़.
Sir, thank you very much. I would have a comment rather than a question. Just replying to a question raised that how Lean and Six Sigma can be implemented in maritime industry. Sir, yesterday I also described that I am doing PhD in maritime supply chain. So actually my topic is actually to check how the maritime industry can respond to best supply chain practices, and that is through the green supply chain practices. So if you want to implement some tools in supply chain through maritime industry, so we all know that I think in my reckoning supply chain is not complete if we don't discuss the maritime industry, because it is the most beneficial and the most cost benefit mode of transportation in supply chain. So tools actually tells you how you can add values in your supply chain. The tools actually guide you how we can enter in that the betterment of the system. So this is not like that we want to teach something which is supply chain. This is something we want to describe through this discussion, that how these tools will be beneficial in supply chain industry as well. This is the one. My question is that, sir, do you think that this Lean Six Sigma approach should be applied to every process, or it should be applied to the processes which are of the nature where the margin of error is less? Because I can take lead from your slide. Somebody comes to me and asks, sir, अगर हम 4 sigma apply करते हैं तो it is already 99% error free. So why do we need 99.9999996? So actually what answer I gave usually, I would like your comment also on that. That consider that you are flying on Boeing 747. Would you love to have 0.000001% of margin of error in that plane? And everybody should be suffering from that. So answer may be no. Similarly, your research paper tells about the health industry. So these are some industries where Lean Six Sigma or even zero defect manufacturing, ZDM, is beneficial. Sir, your comment on that?
Yes, thank you very much, Sharji. You are right, it depends upon the nature of the business, that what industry we are working. Let's take an example of aerospace industry, airline. You are traveling from Karachi to UK, okay, and what is the expectation, what type of process and what type of capability you want that your flight should be on time and it perform its journey safe and accurately. If there is a 0.00001% probability that that plane is going to be crashed, definitely you will not opt for it. For the system, it is a 0.00001%, but for you, it's 100%. So that is why there are different nature, different industries in which we have to implement the Six Sigma processes, otherwise it will not work. So its application is totally dependent upon the nature of the industry, which industry you are working. For some industry, 3 Sigma is also acceptable, but still it depends. Any other question? Yes, please.
Example of Toyota and other industries. So can we have a short example for better understanding with the help of Sir Sharjeel in the maritime sector of Pakistan?
Let me explain you.
Sir,
you know, TPS is the most studied case study in the world. Harvard Business School का जो सबसे ज़्यादा पढ़ाया जाना है case study है. There are several tools and techniques that TPS introduce, which is the pull mechanism, Pokayoki, and several tools. So now, being an expert of maritime industry, it is your job. My task is to explain the tools. My task to explain you, to make you familiar with the tools and technique and the mechanism, how the DMIC approach works. Being an expert of maritime sector, it's your task to identify that which set of tools can use in which area and how much improvement that they can bring in this particular sector. Anything else? Yes, please, madam.
I just want to talk about the JIT2 system.
Sorry?
The JIT2 system. We have talked about just-in-time inventory system, but in 1996, JIT2 system was introduced. Basically, उसमें होता ये है कि to reduce the lead times, the manufacturer gives space to the suppliers in their premises, so that वो जो transportation वाला time है वो भी कम हो जाए, और कोई ऐसी कि बहुत अर्जेंट बेसिस पे चाहिए, अगर मेक टू ऑर्डर वाली अप्रोच हम यूज़ कर रहे हैं अपने प्रोसेसेस में, तो उसके लिए एक तो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन वाली चीज़ कम हो जाए और लीड टाइम कम हो जाए. उसके लिए JIT2 सिस्टम इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ है इन 1990s.
यस, यू राइट, करेक्ट. तो इस JIT2 सिस्टम को आप कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं मैरीटाइम सेक्टर के अंदर अपने कंटेनर टर्मिनल्स को मैनेज करने के लिए, अपने कंटेनर्स के थ्रूपुट को मैनेज करने के लिए? क्या आप कुछ बता सकती हैं?
So for example, we do have vendors for multiple services within the terminal. So allied services हैं, उसके अलावा
container management process can be handled by the JIT mechanism. Now it's up to you how deeply you implement that technique. कि कितना अच्छे तरीके से आप JIT को इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे जस्ट इन टाइम को, कि कंटेनर को स्टॉक ना हो, वो आपके इस पर्टिकुलर एरिया के अंदर रहें, जब उसको आपने मूव करना हो तो द शिप उसी वक्त लाए जाएँ और उसी कंटिन्यूशन में उसको मूव किया जाए. So this is about you, that how you are going to design your process and get benefit with these JIT techniques and the lean tools and techniques. Yes, please.
सर, सो बेसिकली जस्ट इन टाइम इन्वेंट्री सिस्टम जो कि बैक एंड टाइम इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ था, उसमें ये सिस्टम था कि अगर एक मैन्युफैक्चरर ने स्ट्रैटेजी अडॉप्ट की हुई है मेक टू ऑर्डर इंस्टेड ऑफ मेक टू स्टॉक, तो बेसिकली देयर विल बी अ डिमांड फ्रॉम द मार्केट और फिर वो अपनी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग स्टार्ट करेगा. फिर उसके बाद वो सप्लायर अपनी प्रोडक्ट को भेजेगा, बीच में ट्रांसपोर्टेशन टाइम लगेगा, बीच में मल्टीपल चीज़ें. मैन्युफैक्चरर जो है वो अपने प्रीमिसेस पे ही वेंडर को लाकर बिठा देता है कि आप हमारे प्रीमिसेस पे ही बैठे हैं, अपने रॉ मटेरियल वगैरह को हमारी कंपनी के अंदर ही प्रोवाइड करें, सो दैट वो टाइम. आई थिंक इट्स नॉट वर्किंग. ओके.
Alright, I think that's all from my side. Okay. Now let me ask to please invite the next speaker for the trainer for the session. Thank you very much for my time. Thank you.
If you're up